I'm an African immigrant. That's why I look like a mannequin that came to life. And I actually moved to America in 1985. My family, we first moved to St. Louis, Missouri, because we all want to be introduced to racism at the same time. And we're trying out for a couple of years. We're like, we better move. And what we decided to do was move to Fresno, California. Yeah. If you're not familiar with Fresno, every part of Africa is better than Fresno, California. Without a doubt. It's a terrible city. And I have two younger brothers, and I love them because we shared everything. And we even shared the same neighborhood bully, Kevin. Oh, that's a terrible bully name, too. It's not his real name, but I'm still afraid. That's why I'm not going to say it. Not while cameras are on. But Kevin, at age 10, weighed 180 pounds, which is the combined weight of 3 African children, by the way. He was about 5'9". He was a giant to a kid. And he was actually our friend to begin with. But he was that really aggressive kid that hit you even though he liked you. You know, that terrible fucking kid. You can't help it. And we had to end the friendship because one time we played baseball with him. And after he hit the ball, he threw the bat, but it landed on my brother's face. And his response, instead of caring about a wounded child, was to run the bases and laugh maniacally, which is what a demon does. So we're like, we can't be friends with Kevin anymore. And that was not a good idea either, because being his enemy was worse, because he beat us up all the time. And I was in his grade, so he followed me around. It was the worst. I was terrified of him. He called us names, which weren't very good. He'd call us stuff like African booty scratcher. It's not an insult, it's true. I am African, and when my butt itches, I scratch it. What's wrong with you? Like, what are you doing? Scratch your itchy butt, Kevin. What he started to do was he started to steal our toys. And I was very afraid to tell my mother, because my mother is like 75% Grace Jones and 25% Oprah Winfrey. You know? Like, she can kill you, but she'll make all of your dreams come true first. I love my mother, but I don't think she likes me. And it's fine. That's our relationship, and it took me a while to confess to her what was going on. And eventually I came up to her, I was like, Mom, Keon. Sorry, I said his name. Kevin. I'm not saying it again. Kevin is stealing our toys. Can you do something about it? And my mother responded with 2 words, and she repeated them. One day. One day. Listen, lady, I have no time to solve your cryptic African puzzles. I am down to a pet rock and a slinky, okay? And you know that's a regular-ass rock and a bed spring. So we got to work on this. So I was like, all right, I'll take care of this myself. So I formulated a plan, Plan A. It's very simple. It was based off of a movie I saw where a nerdy kid went up to his bully, and he challenged him to a trivia competition. And they became best friends afterwards. So the next day, I went to school. I went up to Kevin, and I said, I challenge you to a math competition. And what Keon did was take the back of his hand and swiftly apply it to my cheek as hard as possible, which is known as a bitch slap. Which is what you do when somebody says something bitchy, like I challenge you to a math competition. So we had to go on to Plan B. I brought in my little brothers. Plan B was straightforward as well. Keon, Kevin. This is a fun game. I'm gonna say his real name. Please don't live near here. he, like most shitty kids, he played football after school. He was also a latchkey kid as well. So his mom was a nurse. She worked at night. And since he lived in our neighborhood, he was only 3 houses down, we had an hour of time where no one was at his house. And that's when we were like, all right, we put on our spy gear because we're on a mission now, which is just all black clothing. And then we, since we were spies, we just kind of like began sneaking down the street in broad daylight. You know, because we were cool. And we snuck down the street, and then we got to his house, and I gave my brother a boost over the fence, which is my favorite thing in the world to do. If you ever need a boost, I'm here for you. And I gave my other brother a boost. I'm feeling good. They both let me over the fence. We're in Keon's backyard now. And we look around, and we see in the corner of his backyard all of our toys just collecting dust in the corner, and we are psyched! So we just so happy to see them again. And we run up to them, and then we start picking them up. That's when we realize that all of our toys are broken, just destroyed. All the action figures just dismantled, every ball ripped apart. Have you ever seen 3 African children in front of a giant pile of broken toys? There's nothing sadder. The Sarah McLachlan song starts playing automatically. And like we're feeling down, and that's when my youngest brother nudges my elbow, and he points to the right. And I look over, and it's Keon's window, and it's wide open. And that's when Plan C comes into effect. Get into Keon's room. We run up to the window. I give my brothers a boost, feeling good again. And we hop into Keon's room. And Keon, when we got in there, he's an only child. His mom bought him every toy imaginable. And we were gonna steal every toy imaginable. We were so excited. He had Ninja Turtles. He had that Batman the Animated Series just started. So that was even more exciting. He had a whole Batmobile situation. He had that Power Rangers Megazord that can dismantle into the 5 Zords, which you know is not an only child toy. That is a multi-child family toy. And we were so, like, we were just taking the stuff back, like as much of it as possible. And we're running back and forth to the house. And then we realized that Keon has a Sega Genesis, you guys. I'm from a Nintendo family. I don't give a fuck about a Genesis. But I want revenge, you know? I want sweet revenge. And that's when we decided to start taking all the games, including unopened on the bed, never played before, the Aladdin video game. GamePro Magazine Game of the Year, 1992, if you're not familiar. Important game for everyone at that time. Never played, unopened, we grab that game. We take all the other games. We take the controllers. We take the adapter. We take every connection. He had 3 Game Genies. You only need 1, so we took those 2. And we left by itself with nothing else surrounding it, just the console. Barren on the shelf, like a shitty pet rock. And we got the hell out of his house, and we ran home, and we had all our new toys, and we were happy. And then about 20 minutes later, come stomping down the street. Of course, it's him. He figured it out. We're in danger. He comes barging up the street, and he just comes right up to our door and just bangs really loud on the door, as loud as possible. And we don't do anything. But my mom is home, and she gets up, and she answers the door, and she opens it, and Keon just immediately starts yelling at her, "Your son stole my shit! Give me my goddamn toys back right now!" My mom remains calm and goes, "I do not know what you're talking about. My children do not steal. Go away." And Keon does that thing where he just sucks in all the air in the world and gets really quiet and just starts marching away from our house. And he gets about 50 feet away, and he gets into that hut hike position. I don't know what it's called, you guys. I'm not gonna pretend that I do. We can assume right now that he's about to bum rush my mother. Quick side story about my mother, you guys. 2 years prior to this day, we are visiting Ethiopia, and me and my 2 younger brothers are sitting under the only tree in Africa, as far as we can tell. And we're just minding our own business, just on our uncle's farm, doing nothing. And that's when my mother walks up to her 3 youngest sons. And she goes, "Do you want to see something?" And we're like, "Yes, please, anything." And my mother then takes her skirt, ties it up in a knot, and then she gets up and then just runs down this field. Full, like the beautiful chocolate gazelle that she is. Full speed, sprinting, just moving forward. And in the distance, minding its own business, doing nothing, is just an old cow. And my mom is going in that same exact direction. And she's going top speed. And she's getting closer and closer and closer until she's only a few feet away. And that's when she ducks down and just knocks the cow over. At which point she pulls a butcher knife from the back of her skirt, lifts the cow's chin up, slices its throat open, blood gushes everywhere. And she just holds it until it's dead. She gets up slowly, covered in blood, looks off to the distance at her 3 youngest boys and goes, "Who's hungry?" Now, Keon is in the hut-hike position, and he's gonna bum rush my mother. What he doesn't know is that he is not the same size as a fat cow. And he goes top speed at my mom, who doesn't even move a muscle. She just has that same look in her face that I remember from 2 years ago, which is, "You're about to see something. Watch." And Keon gets closer, and he gets closer until he's about a few feet away, at which point my mother lifts her knee up to her chin and just drops him hard to the ground. You can hear his head crack on the concrete. She firmly holds her foot on his throat, and that same foul swoop, she grabs the phone, dials 911, and goes, "Hello, police? I have a very small problem." You guys, Kevin/Keon got arrested. And the entire time he was being arrested, me and my brothers are holding an unopened Aladdin video game up to the window. My mom walks by the room a few moments later and goes, "I told you, one day." You guys have been so wonderful. Thank you so much.